If you did not get excited by the ending of episode 4 yesterday, then you might need to check your midichlorian count, because in clear-cut fashion, no shuffling around, no wordplay, Fennec Shand said to Boba Fett at the end, "We can get help if you know where to look for," and there was the Mandalorian theme that we haven't heard in more than a year. So naturally, everybody went berserk when we heard that music, that dear sweet, sweet music, signalizing of course that a major Mandalorian cameo is coming, maybe in the next episode or towards the end of this series. But you need to know that there are 3 more episodes coming. Yesterday was episode 4, so next week it will be episode 5, 6, and lastly 7. So that leaves 3 episodes where the Mandalorian could come back, perhaps in episode 5, but it wouldn't be all that bad if he came in episode 6 or 7. Whenever Jon Favreau deems it so, it will be best if he comes back when he is needed, naturally, as opposed to being forced and possibly not a good cameo. The reveal comes, of course, in a very inquisitive conversation between Fennec Shand and Boba Fett. They are somewhat at a crossroads. You see, even before this episode, Boba Fett and Fennec Shand has now come to grips. Even in the previous episode, we saw the Pike Syndicate slowly assert their dominance on Tatooine. More and more troops are coming. The mayor is completely working for the Pike Syndicate, and now the 3 families are hedging their bets. They don't yet know who to go with, either Boba Fett or the Pike Syndicate. Betting on the winner is always a clear choice. However, right now it seems like it's up in the air. This is what Boba Fett and Fennec Shand were discussing. They were discussing their undoubted battle with the Pike Syndicate. Sooner or later, they will have to go to war. The problem is the families. Who will they side with once the war starts? Although we see that Boba Fett is confident these other crime factions on Tatooine will support him long term, knowing that the Pike Syndicate will take over the entire planet if he defeats Boba Fett. In the short term, Boba lacks the numbers to fight all these Pike troops that are still incoming. A quick mention also to Black Chrysanthemum, which I thought would happen in the previous episode, but it happened in yesterday's episode, in episode 4. Black Chrysanthemum is now officially a member of the Boba Fett tribe. He is working for Boba, his personal bodyguard. The boys are back in town. As you well know, Black Chrysanthemum and Boba were partners back in the day in the Imperial times in the comics. Of course, we come to the line, "Credits can buy muscle if you know where to look" by Fennec Shand. The Mandalorian theme immediately comes into play. Boba presumably knows what Fennec is talking about. But does he want Djarin to come to Tatooine and save him? You see, it's not a question of Djarin. I think Boba and Djarin respect each other pretty much, as we saw in the Mandalorian series. The problem is, who is Djarin bringing with him? Since the last time we saw Djarin, he possessed the Darksaber. He won it fair and square fighting Moff Gideon. Problem now, of course, is that Bo-Katan wanted to become Mandalore by defeating Moff Gideon and taking the Darksaber for herself. In this confusion, now we are left without an answer. The Mandalorian Season 2 ended without giving us a proper Mandalore, knowing what we would expect in the upcoming Season 3, and perhaps that answer will lie in the Book of Boba Fett by the finale. It won't be crazy to think that if Din Djarin comes to the aid of Boba Fett, he will likely bring Bo-Katan and the Night Owls together with him. Since now with the Darksaber confusion, I don't think Bo-Katan will just remove herself outright. I think she will stay close to Din Djarin for a long time. And as we know, in the Season 2 of The Mandalorian, Bo-Katan and Boba Fett did not go along well. In fact, it was Bo-Katan who called Boba Fett a fake Mandalorian, called Jango Fett his donor. This did not go well with Boba Fett. This led to a fight with one of the Night Owls. It was total disaster. But outside of Bo-Katan, I'm mostly focused on who is Mandalore. Who is the real Mandalore that is wielding the Darksaber? If by all accounts, Din Djarin is the rightful ruler, then the forces that he will bring with him, the Mandalorians that will come by his side and essentially save Boba Fett, the numbers will be astronomical and the Pike Syndicate have a true fight on their hands. Maybe not even a fair fight, because countless Mandalorians against the Pike Syndicate, I think that's just unfair. The Mandalorians will crush them without a second thought. For me, the Djarin cameo will essentially answer a question that has been bugging us for quite a while now. Did Bo-Katan accept the Darksaber and became a Mandalore that not everybody would respect, or did she yield and Din Djarin is now the rightful ruler of the Mandalorians, who he will now bring to the aid of Boba Fett? This is a crazy question that I can't wait to see an answer to once Mando makes his cameo in the Book of Boba Fett, but I don't think this is what Temuera Morrison was referring to. He said that Episode 7 has the craziest cameo ever, and I don't think he was referring to Din Djarin. He may have been referring to Han Solo. So Episode 7, for those of you who don't know, will be the finale. The Book of Boba Fett has only 7 episodes, and Episode 7, I think, will release in February 9th, if I'm not mistaken. So February 9th will be a shocker for all Star Wars fans, and I think Episode 2 has a definitive connection to what Temuera Morrison is talking about. As I said, the Pike Syndicate showed up in Episode 2 with their train and with their spices from the mines of Kessel. And where did we see the Pike Syndicate featured in live action for the first time, and the mines of Kessel too? Well, it was none other than in Solo: A Star Wars Story. In fact, this was a complete Easter egg from what we saw in Episode 2. The Pike Syndicate and the mines of Kessel are definitely connected to not only Han Solo, but Chewbacca as well, since the Wookiee slaves used to work on the mines of Kessel, extracting spice from them for the Pike Syndicate. And this is where we get into the crux of this interview. What Temuera Morrison is trying to say here is that Harrison Ford is also back. I definitely think that the finale will be accompanied by a cameo from Han Solo. We saw Han Solo in Battlefront 2. He was an older Han Solo with a beard, but that's who I think we will see in the Book of Boba Fett season finale. It makes great sense for Boba Fett and Han Solo to meet each other again, especially on Tatooine, the operating grounds for both Han Solo and Boba Fett. This interview from Temuera Morrison actually corresponds with what many articles have been saying for a couple of weeks now, that Harrison Ford has just signed a contract to come back to Star Wars. In a recent rumor, it was said that Ford was recently on set for either The Mandalorian Season 3 or the Book of Boba Fett. We also hear that Harrison Ford filmed a de-aged Han Solo for this project. There has also been reports that Chewbacca and other Wookiees will be appearing in the what is called Mandoverse, and with this we can confirm that Han Solo will be back as well. I really think that these rumors are all but confirmed. For me, there are two possibilities. It's either going to be Han Solo or it's going to be Qi'ra. We all know that Disney doesn't want to take chances, and because they don't want to take chances, I think that we got our comic book fix with Black Chrysanthemum. Not many people know who Black Chrysanthemum really is, only the true diehard fans such as myself and you guys, which immediately recognized Black Chrysanthemum the moment he was shown, even from his back. But I think this is the last ambiguous character we saw in the Book of Boba Fett. I think that they won't risk bringing back Qi'ra. I think the most logical conclusion that Disney will come up with is Han Solo and Chewbacca being back in the Book of Boba Fett finale. And again, Disney is only inflaming the rumors by adding up the Pike Syndicate and the mentioning of the mines of Kessel, which directly connect the Book of Boba Fett with Solo: A Star Wars Story. For me, there's no doubt that Han Solo will be in the Book of Boba Fett finale. It makes very much sense, since in The Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker appeared. So these guys are just bringing back every single main character that we saw from Star Wars, and since Luke Skywalker made an appearance, now Han Solo has to do one as well. And who knows, we might see Leia in The Mandalorian Season 3. I mean, why not? Bring all the characters back together and contribute to the quote-unquote Mandoverse, because Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are spearheading this, and honestly, I gotta support my boys. So talk to me down below in the comments. Who do you guys think will appear in the season finale of the Book of Boba Fett Season 1, as Tamora Morrison has just told us? Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.